Hello, welcome back dear students. Welcome back to our e-learning session. This e-learning session initiated by Sri Vidyadis Vidya Sankul under the guidance of Dr. G.M. Sutaria sir. And welcome back to our subject SPCC. We are discussing part number 2 and chapter number 1 and name of the chapter is Issue of Shares. So this is our lecture number 4th, and in previous 3 sessions we discussed about the basic introduction of the secretarial practice, which are the different norms or provisions that are associated when any of the company coming with new IPO, or then we discussed about the procedure of share application, and in previous session we discussed about the procedure of share allotment. In today's session we are going to discuss from page number 88, and first of all we are going to discuss about the legal restrictions and provisions on share allotment. In previous session we discussed in detail what is the share allotment, how it is done, and we discussed different 8 stages of the share allotment, in which we discussed each and every point very clearly. So I hope you got all these points very clear. And now let us move towards the legal provisions or legal restrictions on share allotment. Legal restrictions and provisions of share allotment. Certain restrictions are imposed on allotment of share under the Companies Act 2013 and guidelines issued by SEBI. Some of them are as under. So it may happen that in some type of manipulation are there, some kind of favoritism, red tapeism are also exist in share allotment, and hence to make it a very strict norms or to make it a very transparent and clear procedure of share allotment, the SEBI laid down some of the rules and regulations, and they framed legal restrictions, and they framed also some of the provisions which are associated with the share allotment. So by following these particular provisions and restrictions, now any of the company is not able to make any kind of misconceptuality or any kind of manipulation in the process, and hence we are going to discuss these legal restrictions. So these are the restriction imposed on allotment shares under the Companies Act 2013. You have to remember that, because in some of the provisions or in some of the process there is a legal restrictions imposed by SEBI, in some of the process legal restrictions made by the different stock exchanges, while in some of the provisions there is the availability or the restriction will be made by the Companies Act 2013. So here in this, the share allotment, the share under the Companies Act 2013 and the guidelines imposed by SEBI. Some of them are as under. The first, company cannot issue share at a discount in a public issue. It is compulsory there. What is the meaning of discount? Discount means issuing a share at a lesser price than its par value, or we can say book value. Say for example, company XYZ Limited come up with the public issue and their par value is 100 rupees per share. But now the company estimating or feeling that due to the very strict financial conditions of the shareholders, or due to this pandemic situation, or due to the recession and depression, it may happen that the shareholders will not pay 100 rupees per share, and hence once decided then they issue this at the lesser price, that is either 90 rupees or 80 rupees, then here the 10 rupees is discount, while here the 20 rupees is discount. So you cannot issue the share at discount price. Yes, once you forfeit the share and then if you want, then you may reissue it at a discount price. But when you come up with the IPO, that is initial public offering, then it is compulsory that either you have to issue the share at a par value or at a premium, but never on a discount, because it gives a negative impression to the shareholders. And hence the first provision or legal restriction says that a company cannot issue shares at a discount in a public issue. I hope you got this point. Now let us move towards the second. A minimum of 10% of shares issued will be reserved for retail investors in a public issue. As we discussed previously, that there are different categories of investors are there, like retail, HNI, that is high net worth individual, foreign institutional investors, employees, etc. So out of all these, there is a legal provision regarding retail investors, means the small investors. And as we discussed that, nowadays the SEBI framed the rules that there should be the minimum application of 15,000 will be there, so that each and every small investors can subscribe to the share. So the second provision is that a minimum of 10% of shares issued, total number of shares issued. Say for example, if 100 crore is the issued capital, then out of this 100 crore, minimum 10%, that is at least 10 crore rupees shares will be reserved for the retail investor in a public issue, because the SEBI is considering the interest of small retail investors also, and hence they make it compulsory to reserve at least 10%. But nowadays many of the companies are extending this minimum limit up to the 35% also, because they are having more interest on retail investors than anyone else. But there should be minimum 10%. It is not the maximum limit. Maximum you can go up to the 100%. Third, all types of investors have to make application through SBA process only. So whether you are a retail investor or a high net worth individual or foreign institutional or local institutional investors or employees, compulsorily all of you have to make an application on SBA process and only. But if you check the form of the share application, then you will find out that there are different boxes of the categories are given. Say for example, there is a respective boxes of retail, HNI, FII and employees is given. You have to just tick on your category and then submit it to the nearest bank or to the sub broker, and they will process through ASBA. I hope now you remember the full form of ASBA, so we are not going in a further discussion. Third provision says that all types of investors, it means all types of these categories of investors, have to make application through ASBA process only. Initially in HNI category and FII category there was a different process, but nowadays this process is same for all these four categories. Fourth point, entire process of public issue, including opening of subscription, accepting application, allotment of shares and listing of shares on recognized stock exchange, is to be completed within 10 days. Thereafter, trading of all shares allotted will commence on a recognized stock exchange. So all the process, it is the process of the starting of the share application. Basically, the share application is opened up for 5 days, excluding public holidays, that is on Sundays, and if some of the public holiday is there. So, but nowadays, majority of the companies are come up with 3 days only. These 3 days, like if we discuss then, on this 21st to 23rd September, there was 2 shares who open for this public subscription. So there are 3 days for open subscription, while another 2 days is for some kind of edit, or if you want to stop or make a stop payment, or any further facilities regarding it, then 2 days is reserved for that category, but initial 3 days is for the opening of a public subscription. So now let us discuss that. The issue is open for subscription on 21st September 2020. So it is the 30 days month, so the 10 days will be on 1st October 2020. So all the process will be done between these 2 days. On 21st September, the issue is open for the public subscription, and all the process, like whatever given here is entire process of public issue, including opening of subscription. Generally, the issue of prospectus, or we can say the advertisement of share subscription, is done on the very first day of opening of a particular share application. So opening of subscription, that is the 21st to 23rd September. Then accepting applications will be accepted during these 3 days from the public, and after 1 day of this closing of this issue, all these allotment or all these applications will be given to the members, or we can say the member committee of that particular share issue. So the subscription, accepting applications, allotment of shares, and listing of shares on recognized stock exchange is to be completed within 20 days. You have to remember this 20 days, that whenever the share is opened for the subscription, it should be closed each and every process, including the allotment of share, credit of shares into the accounts, demat account of the investors, and listing on a recognized stock exchange will be done on a 10th day only. Thereafter, trading of shares allotted will commence on a recognized stock exchange. Basically, there are 2 categories of this market. When any of the company come up with a new shares, and then all this process of the share application, then accepting application and allotment of shares, and crediting the shares to the demat account of the shareholder is the primary market concerns, while once it get listed in a particular or recognized stock exchange, and further process comes under the secondary market, or we can say on the stock exchange. So there is 2 types of market exist. First one is for the companies who are coming with the new shares, and it ended on the shares credited into the accounts of the shareholder. And when it get listed in a recognized stock exchange and free movement of share transfer is done, it comes under the secondary market, or we can say stock exchange, which is given on your chapter number 9 of subject OC. So thereafter, it means once this 1st September cross, then free movement of share transfer will be done on the regular basis on recognized stock exchange. 5th point. Demat account is compulsory for applying for shares, and the shares will be credited into demat account of the applicant only. If I am having demat account, then and then I can subscribe to the application. As we know that there should be compulsory requirement of a bank account if we want to make any kind of banking transactions. Same way, if you want to apply for any of the share, or if you want to subscribe for any of the shares, then compulsory you should have a demat account. So demat account is compulsory for applying for shares, and the shares will be credited into demat account of the applicant only. It means if I apply for the share or if I subscribe for the share application, then there should be demat account with my name only, and the shares will be credited on my demat account only. No third party demat account will be accepted. Say for example, if I apply on my name from my father's demat account, then it is not acceptable. I can apply, or my father can apply by themselves, or if I want to apply, then there is compulsion for me to have a demat account. Done. So demat account is compulsory and the share is credited into the demat account of the same person only. Sixth point, at least 90% of the share issued which are not underwritten must be subscribed. The company cannot issue shares if application received are less than 90% of shares minimum subscription issued. Basically, the provision of minimum subscription is there. Minimum subscription means what? If once the company come up with an IPO in the market, then it is compulsory for them to get a subscription up to 90%. 90% is the minimum subscription criteria. Now, if as a company you are not able to get 90% subscription from a general public, then all your share application or all your IPO will be cancelled for that period of time or postponed, or your money which is deposited by you in the SEBI for this particular IPO will be forfeited, and it may happen that in near future you are not able to come up with an IPO. So reducing the risk, or for risk aversion, majority of the companies are having an underwriter agreement with a particular bank. Some of the bank or some of the scheduled commercial bank are acting as an underwriter to the companies. Now what is underwriting? Underwriting is a one kind of a guarantee given by a company to that, given by a bank to that particular company, that if in case the company is not able to receive a subscription or minimum subscription of 90%, then the bank will pay the remaining amount. Now let us take the example so that you can understand this point very clearly. Roshni Limited comes with an IPO of 100 crore. Out of this 100 crore, minimum subscription, which is 90%, is 90 crore. Now after open for subscription, due to any of the reason, whether it is the market sentiment or the war strike out between the India and China or India and Pakistan, or whatever the reason it is, now the investor is not interested to subscribing in the shares of a Roshni Limited, or some of the subscriber or a very less number of subscribers has applied for this. So in that case the company gets subscription of 50 crore only. 50 crore is less than minimum subscription of 90 crore. So it may happen that this whole process of IPO will be stopped here, and it will be restricted by the SEBI to take this amount from the investor. Remember that this amount is blocked into the investor's account only, and right now it is not credited into the account of a company, that is the escrow account. So now SEBI will stop down this process and restrict this amount to be unblocked for the company purpose. Now in this case the company will lose its market sentiments, or we can say the market prestige, and even in near future they cannot come up with a new IPO. In this case, when they are failed to get a minimum subscription, they will be having underwriting agreement with some of the bank. Now that underwriter bank will pay 40 crore rupees and total the criteria of 90 crore will be fulfilled. So it is the underwriter who has fulfilled the requirement. Now the question comes to our mind that what the underwriters will get? They get a commission along with the shares. But what is more interested in over here is that the bank is getting a commission. Now the criteria of minimum subscription is done. So the company can get this 90 crore rupees and they can start with their production process, and they have to pay commission to the underwriters. Out of 1 lakh companies, there is only the possibility of this type is 10 to 15 companies only. Otherwise all companies get their full subscription. And nowadays, due to more awareness regarding this share, and as majority of the shares are working on a very well manner and they are giving a very higher return on their investment, so majority of the investors are investing in it, and sometimes some of the companies are getting 10 times 15 times more than actual amount. But as it is the legal restriction, then we have to study that all at least 90% of the share issued which are not underwritten. Here there is underwriter or underwriter agreement, underwritten agreement between the company's bank is done. But if in any case the company has not done any kind of underwritten agreement with any of the bank, then in that case 90% of the share issued which are not underwritten must be subscribed. So now if you are not having an underwritten agreement with any bank, compulsorily you have to get this 90 crore from market only. And if you fail, like Roshni Limited is failed, then it will not go further. The company cannot issue shares if application received are less than 90% of shares. That is the minimum subscription issued. I hope now you got the point of minimum subscription and underwritten very clearly. Next point, that is point number 7. Company is required to issue shares through book building process if certain criteria laid down by SEBI are fulfilled by the company. Here the book building process is a process through which we come up with the share application, and see here what is given over here. Company is required to issue shares through the book building process. It means you cannot issue the price or you cannot issue at a fixed price, but you go through the book building process where you have to take the help of the lead manager and book builder who can take care of each and every activity of the IPO. What is given here is company is required to issue shares through book building process if certain criteria laid down by SEBI are fulfilled by the company. So it is one kind of privilege that if certain kind of criteria which are given by the SEBI is fulfilled by the company, then the company is having an option to fix the price between two range. And all this process will be done by a book building process, book builder along with the syndicate members. So it is one kind of privilege that a company gets when they fulfill all the criteria given by the SEBI. Next, point number 8. If shares are issued at fixed price decided in advance, the company must get the prospectus sanctioned by SEBI. And if shares are issued through big book building process, as I said there, the book building is a process where there will be the range of the price, not fixed price. As we discussed in previous session, there will be the price between 490 to 540. So through book building process, the company must get the red herring prospectus sanctioned by SEBI. Now first of all, what is book building? So here you will be having a privilege that you can fix price between the price range. First of all, price range, that is between 490 to 530. So you may fix the price between these two. It is called book building process, and for that you have to issue red herring prospectus. It means if the company fulfills certain criteria given by SEBI, then they are allowed to go with an IPO through this book building process. So what is book building process? Book building process is a process where the company is allowed to fix price between the price range. Now, according to the situation, the company can fix price any between 490 to 530. But basically they are going with a round figure. So we can say that either 490 or 500 or 510 or 520 or 530. They can select any price between these two. But if the company not fulfilling all the criteria given by SEBI, then compulsorily they have to issue share on a fixed price. So it is the price range. Now the second option is fixed price. Say for example 510, it is normal process, and for that you have to issue normal prospectus only. So here the importance is given to the red herring prospectus. That means if you want to issue red herring prospectus, then compulsorily you have to fulfill all the requirement and extra provisions done by the SEBI. Let us discuss this point number 7 and 8 again, so that this thing clear into your mind, that company is required to issue share through book building process if certain criteria laid down by SEBI are fulfilled by the company. Some of the criteria like ready-made land for doing the business, or some of the financial soundness of the director or of the previous company is there. Then in that case, when the company is fulfilling certain normal criteria that is laid down by SEBI, then they are allowed to come up with an issue of book building process. Now point number 8. If shares are issued at a fixed price, say for example 510 rupees, it is the fixed price which is decided in advance. This price is decided before the issue is coming into the market or before it open for the subscription. See, each and everything you have to clearly mention in the prospectus, and this prospectus should be submitted to the SEBI for sanction. Once SEBI clear all the doubts and difficulties and make all the corrections which are necessary, then SEBI sanction that particular prospectus, and then it will be able to open for the public for subscription. So if shares are issued at fixed price, say for example 510 rupees, the company must get the prospectus sanction, that is the prospectus sanctioned by the SEBI. And if the shares are issued through book building process, this is the book building process, the company must get the red herring prospectus. It shows one kind of prestige into the market if you come up with the red herring prospectus. But as I said, the maximum subscription limit should be with 530. It means the company is getting the application with the maximum called price, not the minimum or any range. They come with the maximum price band only. I hope you got this point very clearly. Now point number 9. A minimum of 5% of the face value of a share for the amount decided by SEBI must be called up as share application money. Now, say for example, I hope you got this point very clearly, and please write down so that you will be able to understand this process very easily. You may pause the video and write down it. Say for example, the face value or the fixed price of share is 100 rupees. Now the company wants to bifurcate this 100 rupees into different types of shares installment, because now the company is considering that first thing, we are not requiring full amount at the same time, and second thing, due to the market sentiment, the investors are not able to pay the full amount at the time. Hence, the company bifurcated this total amount in different types of shares installment. Now this share installment, in that first one is share application money, which is the money which submitted with along with the share application. Then first call, second call, and some of the case either it is third call or majority company goes with the final call. So now they bifurcate this 100 rupees into this 4 installment. Now what is the provision over here is that minimum of 5% of the face value of shares of the amount decided by SEBI must be called up as a share application money. So minimum 5 rupees will be called with the share application, while for all other you are just making installment. Basically in previous, that is in Companies Act 1956, this criteria was of 25%. But in new Companies Act 2013 and amendment of SEBI Act, this made as a 5 rupees. So it is compulsion for a company to get minimum 5% of the amount of the face value of share at the amount decided by SEBI must be called up as the share application, and the remaining 95 rupees will be divided into these 3 or 4 installments. I hope you got this point very clearly. Now let us move towards the point number 10. The company must enter into an agreement with a recognized stock exchange for the listing of shares. Basically at the time of issuing prospectus, you have to mention in the prospectus that we are going to listing our shares with the recognized stock exchange. Basically if we see, then in the Indian context we are having 2 major recognized stock exchange. First one is National Stock Exchange, that is NSE, and second one is Bombay Stock Exchange, that is BSE. About all these two, or about these 2 stock exchanges, you will learn in chapter number 9 of the subject OC of standard 12. But here it is given that the company must enter into an agreement. So before giving your name or before giving the name of the recognized stock exchange into the prospectus, there is a compulsion for a company to come into an agreement with that particular recognized stock exchange. It means once each and every process in the primary stage cleared by SEBI, then we have to approach to the stock exchange in which we are going to listing our shares about the listing agreement. Then we have to fulfill all the required documents and required conditions of that recognized stock exchange, and once we fulfill that, our agreement with that particular recognized stock exchange is done, and now we can give the name of that particular recognized stock exchange into the prospectus. Whether it is normal prospectus or red herring prospectus, we have to mention the name of the recognized stock exchange. There is another provision also, that if you don't make any kind of agreement with this particular stock exchanges, then you may go in a further process or in a later stage also, but you have to mention it in a prospectus that right now we haven't decided to listing our shares in which of the stock exchange, but in a very short period we will inform about it. And before listing of shares, you have to compulsory make the announcement of that particular recognized stock exchange in which you are going to listing your shares. So point number 10 suggests that the company must enter into an agreement with a recognized stock exchange, because without agreement you cannot give a name of a recognized stock exchange into your prospectus, and hence you have to enter into an agreement with a recognized stock exchange for the listing of shares, and you have to fulfill all the required and basic necessities of that particular stock exchange. 11th, the company must enter into agreement with the respective depository company to credit the share allotted. Basically, in India, we are having two national depository services. First one is NSDL and second one is CDSL. Now, basically different customers are having their depository in different companies. Nowadays, all the companies are making agreement with both these depository. See, there is a coordination between these two. Because if some of the students from you are doing this kind of stock exchange work, then they are very well aware that there is two different code is allotted to a single person. First one is a demat account and second one is a trading code. So demat code is associated with the recognized depository, while trading code is associated with the recognized share broker to whom we are working. Say for example, my demat account is with the Zaveri Securities Limited. So the account number of the demat account is 100103394. It is my demat account number. If I want to sell or purchase the share through that particular Zaveri Securities only, then also they provide me one trading code, and my trading code is O1111. Now if I want to make any kind of transaction in recognized stock exchange of a sell and purchase, then I have to compulsory quote the trading code and not the demat account number. This demat account number is applicable when I am filling the application form of a particular share. So if I make any kind of subscription or make any kind of application for the subscription in any of the company, then compulsorily I have to mention the demat account code which is with the recognized depository. And if I want to sell and purchase the shares, then it can be done with the help of trading code. So there is two different type of code in real life exist. Now point number 11 says that the company must enter into agreement with respective depository company. Some of the case either NSDL or CDSL, but nowadays all the companies are making or comes into the agreement with both these, because some of the applicants are having their shares in NSDL, means they are having their demat link with NSDL, while some of the investors are having their demat link with CDSL. So nowadays all the companies, see, basically nowadays in modern time all the companies are making agreement of listing with both the recognized stock exchange, that is NSE and BSE. Along with that, for a depository they are making an agreement with both NSDL and CDSL. So it is clearly given that company must enter into an agreement with respective depository, because in previous session when we discussed about the share allotment, then first of all the registrar of the shares will inform the depository about the share credited into their customer's account, and they allot that full number of shares to that depository only, and it is the work of the depository to credit the share in the account of respected customers to whom the share is allotted. So for that it is compulsory for a company to come into an agreement with the depository, and hence the 11th point shows that the company must enter into an agreement with respective depository company to credit the shares allotted. Because if you haven't made any kind of agreement with this particular depository, then they will not be able to credit the shares into the account of their respective customers, and even the company is not able to allot the share to that depository because of this limitation. 12. Minimum subscription and its effect must be disclosed in the prospectus. It means if the Roshni Limited come up with the share of the 100 crore, then in prospectus it is compulsory for Roshni Limited to mention that the minimum subscription amount is 90 crore out of the 100 crore issued. Now the point number 12 says that minimum subscription and its effect must be disclosed in the prospectus. So here the Roshni Limited has to disclose that if we get this 90 crore rupees as a minimum subscription from a general public, then we will be able to start our business and go into the further process. But if we are unable to get this 90 crore as a minimum subscription, then as we are having an agreement with so and so bank regarding the underwriting, then we will be able to get the money from that underwriters and we can start the business. And if in any case the company has not done any kind of agreement with any of the underwriters, then also they have to mention that we haven't any kind of agreement with any of the particular bank or any of the commercial bank, and hence if we are unable to get the minimum subscription from a general public, then compulsorily we have to stop the process and we cannot go further. So whatever the effect of it or whatever the minimum subscription amount, each and everything will be given clearly in prospectus. See, the prospectus is the mirror of the company, because once the company come up with a share issue or come up with a subscription for initial public offering, it is unknown for the general public, and hence if anyone is unknown, will you give them money? No one can. So in that case the prospectus becomes the main document through which the investors can know even a single and small things regarding the company. Nowadays there are so many experts are there who are giving constant suggestions and opinions regarding the prospectus and soundness of that particular company in different channels like NDTV, CNBC and all, Zee Business, and so that now there is no need to go in a small detail by each and every individual investors, as these experts are giving you foolproof information regarding the company. But this prospectus is become main document when any of the unknown company come up with the IPO in a market. So 12 point says that minimum subscription and its effect must be disclosed in the prospectus by the company. 13th point says that the company must have a minimum net worth as prescribed by SEBI for making a public issue. See here, I told you to submit some of the amount in a SEBI as a deposit. Along with that, if a new company come up with a particular share subscription IPO, then the company must have a minimum net worth. See, basically there is two different conditions for two different companies. If existing company is there which is private limited till the date, but now they want to go in a public, like Quickil and some other companies done in the previous year, so they have to show the minimum net worth along with this IPO money, because if they are failed to show up or if they are failed to give the information regarding minimum net worth, then they are not able to come with any of the IPO. But if the new company comes into the business and they can start as a fresh businessman, then they have to deposit some of the minimum amount with the SEBI, and in case of failing in minimum subscription, then this minimum deposited amount will be forfeited by the SEBI as a penalty. So here this point, the company must have a minimum net worth as prescribed by SEBI is related with the existing company, and if the new company is having their own assets, then it associated with them also for making a public issue. 14th and last but not least is, if promoters have also purchased share in the public issue, they cannot sell such shares for a certain of period as prescribed by SEBI. This period is known as lock-in period. Nowadays in modern time, for any of the company to be issued in a public or to come up in a public, they have to minimum promoters share of 26%. or you may elect some of the board of directors on the basis of this minimum criteria. But if during a public issue any of the promoters has purchased the share through this public issue, it means he or she has subscribed into the share. That is, if promoters have also purchased share in the public issue, it means either through public issue or they reserved the shares for the promoters. Say for example, out of this 100 crores issue, 26 crore rupees will be subscribed by the promoters. Hence remaining 74 crore issue is there. So if promoters have also purchased share in the public issue, they cannot sell such shares for a certain of a period as prescribed by SEBI. Now SEBI will decide what will be the lock-in period during which the promoters are not able to sell the shares. If you are taking an interest in this particular subject and in this particular process, then go through once the case of the Satyam Computers and its promoter Mr. Ramalinga Raju. He has done some kind of corporate governance mistakes and hence he is penalized, and today he is in imprisonment for a longer period of time. But it is the case where he has sold his own shares as a promoter in the market without giving information to the SEBI and recognized stock exchange, and hence he is in the guilty state and hence he is in imprisonment. But if the share promoters has purchased the share, otherwise what will happen that whenever the new company get listed into the stock market, at that time they are giving a huge profit to the investors. Like in previous two issues, the general public is getting doubled than their invested amount. Say for example, the investment is 14,900, but by selling the shares on a very first day on the opening of the shares, they are getting 33,000 rupees or 31,000 rupees. So they are getting more than their invested amount, and in that case, if promoters sell their stake, then it will be a fraud for a company, and hence the restriction is there that if the promoters has purchased the shares from this public issue, then they cannot sell the shares to a certain period of time, which is called the lock-in period, and this lock-in period is decided by the SEBI itself. So here with this point we are concluding today's session. I hope you got and understood each and everything very clearly, and if not, then please feel free to ask me. I am ready to give the explanation regarding this. But please take this subject as a serious, because there is a notion in the mind of our students that it is an optional subject. Then if we are not focusing it, then also we will get a good marks, but it is not the case. You have to compulsory focus on each and every aspect, and even I am giving you the practical solution, and we are discussing the practical examples of real life too. So it becomes a very interesting for you people to understand this subject, and in future state of time, if you want to start your own investment with the shares, or you want to start your own company, then also you will be able to understand all these things. And if you want to make your career as a professional life, chartered accountant or company secretaries, then also all these provisions and procedures and routines will be helpful in you. Even as a teacher, I am also interested in knowing the different insights of this particular when I am investing in a share market as an investor also. So it is beneficial to me in both the state, as a teacher also and as an investor also, because I am investing in a share market since 2005, and it has been 15 years when I am working in this field also. So I request you to take interest in this particular subject, and obviously today's homework is write down point number 1.3, that is legal restrictions and provisions on share allotment. I hope you are reading the particular page before you are starting the video, and even if today you are not reading the page, then please, it's my request to read it once before you start the video, so that you can understand each and every point very clearly. And if there is any kind of doubt comes in your mind, that it will be clear on the spot, when you are watching this video. I hope all you got all this point very clearly. So today's homework is write down point number 1.3 full, which is given on page number 88 for whatever we discussed in this particular session. Have a nice day. Thank you very much, class.